Hey there, friends. Very interesting story right here. One that kind of makes you want to keep your head on a swivel for totally different reasons. A Texas man was killed by a bystander in what appeared to be a robbery. It turned out the robbery was a staged immigration fraud.
An armed tussle at this Northwest Houston gas station January 27th. A man and woman robbed while pumping gas before a witness jumps out of his car and shoots Rashad Scott dead as he tries to flee. But now new messages coming to light from Scott's phone, messages sent hours and even minutes before the robbery, messages that point to the whole thing being staged. One, allegedly from a man named William Winfrey, reads, quote, "It's the usual gas pump expletive." In another, he writes, "When you done run, make all the expletive to look real." What's more, investigators say they found a selfie from one of the victims on Scott's phone. Police now say those victims were in on it, all so they could file a police report and use their crime victim status to apply for a U visa.
The person qualifies for a work permit while they are waiting for a resolution of the case.
Sylvia Mintz is an attorney specializing in immigration law. She says the U visa is something that comes up a lot when meeting with potential clients.
So they say, okay, so what would happen if somebody beat me up, or if I was a victim of domestic violence?
Each time, she says she has to turn them away, but police say others are clearly moving forward with their fake crime schemes. Both Scott and Winfrey, who's now charged with murder in Scott's death, have been implicated in a number of fake robberies dating back to 2023. One of them a day before the January gas station shooting. Police say Winfrey sent Scott to rob a cashier at this Northeast Houston convenience store. A cashier, they say, was also in on the scheme.
People don't realize the big mess they are getting into by lying and making things up.
Because if immigration officials find out you lied, you could be banned from the country permanently.
You don't say, really? So if they find out that you lied after you illegally entered the country, you might be banned permanently? I don't think that's going to stick. So I don't think that's a big fear of anybody staging these. But how crazy is this? So you have a person carrying a firearm, the guy in the red Cadillac, who sees a struggle at a gas pump, and he simply tries to intervene, which, I mean, it's hard to pass judgment when you haven't been directly affected by something like that and you're not in that type of situation. You know what I mean? Sometimes between adrenaline, instinct, gut feeling, all those types of things may come into play, leading you to either take part in something like this or maybe not take part in something like this. I mean, this guy literally is at the front door area of this convenience store and sees the scuffle at the pump, gets out of his vehicle, and shoots the guy as he runs across the parking lot, killing him, essentially. It just makes you wonder, would you put yourself in that position? You know what I mean? Is it worth it to you? I know you're thinking about the other people being attacked, and that's what this guy was thinking of, obviously. He was thinking, here's somebody who needs help. You don't assume that there's a faked robbery taking place in front of you. It shouldn't change the way you think anyway, right? I mean, something bad and wrong was going on right here. But you know, this guy who was faking this robbery, I don't think he thought past that too much. I don't think he thought about different areas that he might be in when he's faking that. Obviously, they stated he had been involved in a fake robbery just like this the day before. So this was clearly, I don't want to say it was a ring, like some kind of big operation, but clearly it was coordinated, and it was something that they had done multiple times and was a way for them to make money. I just have to wonder, with the ease of coming in on the southern border because of the Biden open border right now, and the lack of awareness by the White House to do anything about it, and the White House's willingness to cover for you if you come into this country illegally, why go through the trouble of this? I honestly don't understand it. If you're trying to extend your stay here on a temporary work visa because you're waiting for your trial or whatever to take place regarding this crime where you were allegedly a victim, in this case a fake victim, that seems like an awful lot of trouble to go through to potentially get banned from the country when nobody's really trying to kick you out. I mean, honestly, the Biden administration is doing everything they can to not fulfill their responsibilities as the sole organization tasked with defending the border and deporting people who don't belong here. There's nothing broke about the immigration system. There's nothing broke about it. You hear them say, let's fix it. It's broken. It's not broken. It's perfectly in place. It's intact. It's not being implemented is the problem. There's nothing wrong with it. What they want to do is fast track these people to come into the United States and not have to go through a process like so many of our friends from Mexico have already done. And I mean that seriously. I'm down here in South Louisiana. I have close friends of mine who have come in the right way. I have one Honduran friend who has spent well over $6,000 already with attorneys over the years, going on 5 years now. He is still not an American citizen, although he has spent a lot of his own money, a lot of his own time. Of course, he's here legally, so he's going through the process properly. And all these people are just jumping him in line, jumping him. And the White House is letting him. So there's clearly a problem, but the problem is the enforcement of the existing laws that do work, that make somebody come into this country, assimilate, and I mean assimilate. You come to this country, you should speak English. You can call me whatever you want. You can call me racist. You can call me bigoted, whatever. You don't want to assimilate and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. You don't want to take part in the things that make America the greatest country in the world. Then don't come. You are running from a dung heap, right? Your country sucks. Why would you want to bring your sucky country here? If our country is so great and yours is so crappy, then why do you attempt and try so hard to bring your crappy country to a better country? There's a reason why you came here. So come here and try to be as good as everybody else is. Now, we got crappy people here, don't get me wrong. But my whole point is, this is no different than the people from California getting mad because of the high taxes and how much they hate it, and then going to Texas and voting for higher taxes. It's the same thing. If you like my place the way it is and you hate your place, then either stay in your place if you don't want to live the way my place is, or come here and assimilate. Same goes for Californians going to Texas and Louisiana. Same goes for all these immigrants coming in illegally across the border. In many cases, that's the biggest problem. You people don't want to assimilate. We have American values here. We have American ways. Believe it or not, most of the people coming in from south of the border have more conservative views than not. Now, going back to the story, I have to think, how do you approach this? I'm talking about you guys, the viewers out there. How do you approach this if this happens to you? We have the benefit of hindsight being 2020, right? We have the benefit of being able to go back and look at the video, and we can see certain things that maybe this guy couldn't see. The one thing I will point out, again, that the shooter, the guy, the Good Samaritan, let's call him that he couldn't ascertain that quickly with everything going on was, I didn't see these people's lives being endangered. But at the same time, I also don't know if this fake attacker had a gun or a knife, right? You just see somebody attacking somebody else. You don't know what he's attacking them with or if it's just a physical attack. So I don't think the Good Samaritan had the benefit of being able to see as well as we can clearly on a low stress situation like we're in, watching security camera footage. But what would you have done? And I guess look at it two ways. If you felt like this person, I know this was a fake attack, right? But if you were the guy in the red Cadillac and you saw this taking place in your rearview mirror behind you, if you thought the person's life was not in danger, would you have intervened? And if you thought the person's life was in danger, would you have intervened? Personally, I'm going to give you my opinion. I feel like if I knew the person's life was not being threatened, I may have, I'm not saying what I would have done, I may have walked up to the vehicle knowing I had my gun on my side and just asked, hey, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Something like that. I don't know if I would have drawn my weapon immediately when the guy ran, shot at him. Again, I have the benefit of hindsight, right? So don't get too upset about that. Heat of the moment, who knows? If I knew the person, if I thought the person's life was being threatened, yeah, I think most of us probably would have intervened. You know, we see it a lot. We get tired of seeing innocent people getting taken advantage of, you know? So this really could have gone bad in so many ways, Luckily, one of the bad guys got hurt. Now, when we look at all of this, we heard this other attorney say that you could be permanently banned from the country. Again, we know that's not going to happen under the current administration. But do you think even like the attacker, the fake attacker, he's dead. So his time is over. There's no more argument about what do we do with this guy. But the fake victims are still out there. I wonder if they had any charges pressed against them.
What do we know about the fake victims and the shooter? Are any of them being charged?
So we couldn't find criminal charges against any of the fake victims, and that's here in Harris County and even at the federal level, since this does involve immigration law. As for that shooter, his case was referred to a grand jury. They still haven't met, and so he hasn't been indicted and thus is not facing any charges currently.
Well, good to know that the Good Samaritan is not being charged yet. Two things why you probably see the charges and not charges, okay? If the Good Samaritan is not being charged at this point, I think that's a huge plus. However, this is Houston. This is Harris County. Remember, the Harris County DA is super, super liberal, very pro-gun, very anti-gun, very pro-criminal. The other part is, like this attorney said, you could be permanently banned from entering or being in the United States. I guess not. These people helped to stage a crime, the two fake victims. They assisted in helping to stage a crime. Other people could have gotten hurt. In other words, this Good Samaritan shot one of the fake people, and that's all, and the only person he shot. He could have shot a child driving by on a bicycle, anybody. Could have shot anybody, driving by, walking by. So that would have been, you created the situation that caused a Good Samaritan to feel the need to get involved, and somebody innocent died as a result of it. I know that didn't happen here, but it could have happened. Very well could have happened. So we're dealing with two victims who helped create a potentially dangerous situation. Obviously, it was dangerous for somebody. Somebody bled out in the parking lot. But two victims who aren't being charged. Again, I got to point back to the Harris County DA, who is carrying the water for the White House. They're not enforcing the border. When these people actually do something wrong and commit a crime, they're not charging them with the crime. How many more get out of jail free cards are we going to continue to issue these illegal aliens as they break law after law after law before somebody actually charges them with one of the many crimes that they've committed? These people clearly were in the country illegally, right? No harm, no foul. They faked and staged a crime with somebody where somebody else died as a result of their planned fake crime. No charges filed, at least not yet. And I doubt there will be again because of this Harris County very liberal DA who's doing the work of the Biden administration. Guys, keep your head on a swivel. I don't know that we are going to be, the human mind's going to be able to process something as fast as what happened here. Just seems like a totally terrible situation. Think about this guy that did the shooting. For one, good shot on him. He's hitting a moving target as it rolls across the parking lot at, it looks like what might be 20, 30 feet. Hit the guy and didn't hit anybody else, right? Seemed like pretty well trained. But imagine him. This guy, in his mind now, has to live with taking the life of somebody else. And I'm not saying he did anything wrong. That's not what I'm implying here. I'm saying he, as a person, now is going to be dealing with something on his own. And I hope it doesn't eat him up inside because, let's be real here. If you end the life of somebody who's doing something horribly wrong, murder, rape, abuse, some kind of horrible crime, and you end up intervening and you stop the person, stop the crime, the person ceases to be. I think it's easy in your mind to live with that and justify that, knowing that you did the right thing. I'm not saying the guy did anything wrong here, but he was intervening in a fake crime that he assumed was a real crime. It was a real crime because it's fake. I mean, it's a crime to fake a crime like this. My point is, no one was going to be hurt in this fake crime. This was simply for the cameras to pick this up so that they could continue their stay here in the United States illegally. And this guy intervened and did that. I hope he can come to peace with this without it being a traumatic event for him. I really do, because it can't be easy. I've never taken a human life, so it can't be easy to do that, especially under these kind of circumstances. So it has to leave you second guessing what you do. The next time you see something, I hope this doesn't prevent the next Good Samaritan from getting involved to try to help somebody and try to save somebody else, because they see something like this and their own intentions are tainted now because they're like, well, I don't know, is this another fake attempt? So again, just something for us to talk about. Give me your comments down below in the comment section. I'd love to know what you guys think, because this is such a crazy and wild situation. Also, guys, if you don't mind, check to make sure you're still subscribed here to Legally Armed America, because unfortunately YouTube, well, they were on a run last week. From about Tuesday to Wednesday or Thursday, they pulled down about 400 or 500 subscribers. I watched them go down. Like, usually there's a balance where you may be not stagnant, but you only grow by 1 or 2. I was losing. Like, I was in below zero as far as gaining. They let up yesterday. I noticed they took their foot off the brake yesterday, and suddenly my subscriber count is climbing rapidly again. So YouTube has played a lot of games by pulling a lot of my subscribers down. So please check to make sure you're still subscribed. If you're not, please resubscribe. Please ask your friends or family members to also subscribe, because that's the only way we get any real growth. YouTube is notorious for stomping our videos down when they get demonetized, because I deal with a lot of topics that can be a little bit controversial, and YouTube is quick to demonetize those videos. You might be thinking when a video is demonetized, that's just a hit on me, which I can deal with it. That's not how I pay my bills, is with YouTube money. But there's another step to that. When a video is demonetized, it also gets hidden from being suggested. And many of you guys who might already be subscribers, in a lot of cases, do not see those videos unless you go hunt for those videos. So the simple demonetization doesn't just stop at the content provider not making money off that video, which a lot of mine I don't. However, it's the silencing and the blinding of those videos from anybody else, and just not being able to see them, where the real damage goes into play. Because you can see it when you get a video out there and you have almost as many likes and comments as you do views, then you know something weird is going on. You knew it was a popular video, but nobody's seeing it. Those that see it react to it and respond to it, so you know it's something people want to see, but YouTube is simply stifling that reach and not allowing people to see it. So again, if you don't mind, please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that, guys.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America. He's so